I'm Bob Fletcher. I'm here today to conduct a videotaped interview of Sylvia Padrick, and we're located at the historic Central Baptist Church in Gainesville, Georgia. It's downtown historic Gainesville. With me today is Helen Martin, our area project coordinator for the Library of Congress, and that's the Veterans History Project, and that's in coordination with the Colonel William Candler chapter of the Daughters of American Revolution. I should mention that Helen is an honorary regent and a current member of that organization, and she's going to be coordinating all the written and also this part of the interview. Our videographer today is Mike Smith, and of course it is important to note that today's date is the 19th of September 2022. So let me turn this way just a little bit, Sylvia, and to begin, I guess the best thing we could do is find out when and where you were born.
I was born in Seattle, Washington, April 27th, 1934. I'm 88 years old, and very, very blessed to be here. And God has been so good to me that He's taken care of my health.
Well, that's what I should say before we go any further. Just personally, I am so glad that you agreed to do this interview. And I know that the historical and cultural information that you're going to be able to give us, based on some of the notes I've looked at from our coordinator, this will be a very important interview for Americans and anybody to have a historical view of your events of your life surrounding World War II. So let's go start with your beginnings, and could you tell us a little bit? I know you were just a little girl, but could you tell us maybe, let's say from your birth to about age 7, if you could cover your family and what your surroundings were prior to December 7th, 41, as you're a little girl growing up, whatever you remember about your family, your surroundings, your house, your father's business, and what you remember.
Well, as I know that I was just from my early age of probably 5 or 6, I attended Marino Catholic preschool, and my parents, we lived in a small yellow house in Seattle, Washington, and the bus would come by and pick me up, and Brother Andrews eventually asked my mother to be kind enough to tell me not to hit him over the head with my lunch bucket, because I had to go to school. But I was normally just a very well-behaved child.
And your memories start from around about age 5?
About age 5 or so. And then we moved to...
Well, could you tell us a little bit about maybe your father and what he did?
My father worked, he was originally born in Japan, I'm not sure, Yokohama, and worked for a Japanese bank in Seattle, Washington. And my mother was just a housewife, but she was also born in Seattle, Washington, so she is of the second generation. And my grandfather, he came over from Japan as a legal and gentleman with his proper papers, and became a naturalized citizen eventually. But at that time they didn't allow Japanese to become citizens.
Did he own any land, or was he in any business?
My grandfather was a gentleman farmer, where he had a farm and his children. He had 6 children. Most of them were all his workers, and of course he had during the season he was a truck farmer, where you had fruits and berries and vegetables.
Yeah, in those days Seattle was probably not as heavily populated anywhere near as
no,
we
and
have
then
now.
he went to Auburn and had a barber shop. Then he had a pool hall there as well, and was then somehow my father and mother were, at that time, it was like a brokered marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mother was married to my father, which she was not happy about because she wanted to continue her education.
Mm-hmm.
And she had just finished high school. She wanted to go on and further her education, but her father did not think that she needed to do that. She should just marry this banker, gentleman banker out of the city of Seattle.
Yeah, and do you remember when maybe you're 5 years old now, so I know it's kind of difficult to remember. I wouldn't remember everything when I was 5 either, but how about any brothers or sisters? Did you have any in the family?
I have a sister who is 5 years younger than I am. Her name was Joyce. And Joyce Torigora, we were Torigoras, as that was my father's name.
Oh.
So actually I'm Sylvia Torigora. And then when my mother remarried, I became Fujiwara.
Yeah, wow, that's
Oh, we had
that's
quite a
interesting.
Yes, because they did not allow divorces or look very harshly at divorces among the Japanese.
Did you enjoy that school you were in?
Marino, yes, I loved it. I used to wear a towel around my head and try to pretend that I was going to be a nun.
How about that?
And loved the school. But I remember in the schools at that time, we always had sort of like an assembly where we sang and pledged allegiance, and always were much more patriotic at that time.
Were the teachers nuns, or
Yes.
they were nuns?
They were
Were they
nuns.
very strict?
Yes.
So
Pretty
you knew you
pretty
had.
strict.
Yeah. Well, that was great. Those Catholic schools probably made a lot of good students in those days, even though it's strict. Our classrooms today, I don't know, some of the discipline is a little bit. Well, you had some good early training then as a 5 or 6, 7-year-old, but I guess we should probably start moving on into
Right.
the
When
events.
I was 7, I was out of the preschool and went to Bailey Gadsden, which is in Seattle, Washington. And at that time, that's when the war began, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, that date of December 7th, 1941 is when the American intervention in the war started for us in World War II. And it was a very critical day because according to my notes when I've been reading in here a little bit, December 8th was a day that you'll remember very well, because I think that's the time that affected all Japanese men of the first and second generation.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well,
That day of December 8th?
Sort of, they started, I know that because my father was born in Japan and worked for a Japanese bank, and all the people all of that generation the men were picked up and put in jail, and then they were sent off to a camp that I don't know where it was.
Do you remember the agency or the men that actually made the arrest? Was it a local policeman or was it federal government?
No, it was the FBI.
The FBI. Yeah, I've heard that from history, but I'm glad you're here today to tell us that was a fact. It was the FBI that showed up.
Yes, and then they froze your bank account, and I don't remember much about what else exactly expired.
So you don't really know. He kind of left and he went to jail, and then you didn't see him at all until did you join up with him later on at camp, what you call Camp 1?
No, we did not see him until we went to Minidoka.
Really? Let me ask this, so he left, and there you are with your mother and sister and in your same house, but in April something happened. What was that?
Well, April 7th,
In 42.
In 1942, we were given like a day and a half or so to, we were sort of getting ready, but we were given notice that we had to be in Puyallup, Washington, and that we had to just carry just our package of whatever we could take, which was usually a suitcase or a duffel bag. You were going to someplace unknown for you didn't know how long, or the weather conditions, what you should take or not take, and you couldn't. Being 7, I couldn't carry much, but a small suitcase, and my mother could carry a suitcase. And of course, Joyce, who was just because I was 7, she was 2. She couldn't carry anything.
Probably had to
all.
carry her almost.
Right.
Do you remember what type of vehicle you were riding into the location? I think you ended up at the racetrack around the Puyallup Center somewhere.
Yes.
A large open space.
It was the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And it was a large open space in Puyallup, and it was sort of the assembly center.
Uh-huh.
The assembly center, I guess, was where they sectioned off people, gave them their shots, and prepared them for going to the camps. But it was also allowing them to build the camps and prepare those.
Well, did they take you off with other people, like in a bus, or was it just you and your family?
No, we were all taken to the bus,
Yeah.
and everybody just
Just
dropped
got
there.
off. Yeah, in that center in Puyallup.
Mhm.
Wow, that's a thing that would be very difficult to deal with at the age of 7. Do you remember your feeling at the time, how you felt about all that?
I was very insecure. I was just, I guess, clinging to my mother and not knowing what, of course, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? And of course, she herself didn't know how to explain this, except to just keep us from not trying to not worry, and being of Japanese descent, we sort of withheld and our feelings
Yeah.
and our emotions.
And then you're probably, and that's where you stayed for a few months. And
Yes.
did you sleep undercover, or were you out in the open?
Well, we were some of us were in stalls, where they kept the animals, and or sort of like, I guess.
Well, it was a racetrack, so it's probably where horses were stabled.
Yes.
Yeah. You mean you were sleeping in a stable?
Well, I guess you could still smell it, but it looked sort of cleaned up. And I know that we had to take our mattresses and fill them up with hay, so we had to sleep.
Right. Well, how long were you at that center?
I guess about maybe 4 months, 6 months, till they could prepare the camp for our evacuation.
How about conditions like your ability to wash and clean yourself up, and the things you would have if you were in a house?
Oh, definitely not.
How is that? I mean, were you able to have any privacy at all or anything?
No.
No privacy.
That's sort of humiliating. You go into just like a big open room, and you sit on porcelain toilet seats, and without any seat covers, of course, and maybe a canvas cloth between you, but everything was sort of open.
Do you remember the type of meals you got? What kind of food they give you?
Well, in Puyallup, they weren't prepared, so we just did not have mostly canned foods.
So you prepared all that yourself, the family?
No.
They gave it to you?
Oh, no, you had like mess halls.
Oh, a mess hall situation. So he kind of went through line and then
You
took
went
it
through
back.
line and
Basic canned foods then is really probably all it was.
basically they did not have fresh food.
So they weren't ready.
They were not ready.
Yeah. Well, and that was only, it was right away after the December 8th time.
Right.
What happened to all your father's assets and everything?
Well, all of those were frozen or taken away eventually because you could not maintain them.
So the government confiscated all that.
Yes. And that's for all of the Japanese people. They lost their hotels, they lost their restaurants, they lost their business, they lost their cars, or anything of any, even of non-value.
Yeah. And these were all Japanese Americans that were just conducting their normal American life, trying to do as well as anybody, as well as they could, right?
Yes, it is.
It was
probably more than maybe 2/3 were American Japanese.
mhm. Well, as a little girl of age 7, that's quite a difficult thing to even deal with, and you got through that. Well, 4 months, I think you said you were at that, and then you went to, according to my notes here, about the 4-month point.
We went to the
You went
internment camps.
to Camp 1. No, I actually called it. Was it Minidoka, Idaho?
Minidoka, Idaho. Yes.
What did you? How'd you get there?
We got there by train.
No kidding.
We
Train.
went by train, and I remember the trains were blacked out, so you couldn't see where you were going. Had no idea where you were going. They didn't, of course, announce it.
Were there soldiers or just?
And there were soldiers.
There were
yes.
soldiers.
There were soldiers
So.
who took you to the trains and guided you there.
Well, what was the weather like when you got there? Was it cold or was it?
It was very harsh because it was almost like a desert land. I mean, there were no trees, there was some sagebrush, there were very hot weather and very cold weather.
Did you get
Extremely cold, and since when it rained, you would be in slush and mush, mud, because there was no trees, nothing to keep the soil down.
Were the sleeping arrangements any better, or is it worse?
The sleeping arrangements were better because they were temporary. They're supposed to be temporary barracks with very just the bare necessity, and your family were in a room with, we just had 4 cots and a potbelly stove in the center.
Did your father join you about this time, or was it later?
He came later, maybe, I don't remember, like a month or two, a couple of months later. It wasn't immediately.
It's probably very hard to put people back together again as a family.
Yes,
since
it
they were
was.
all spread everywhere. And was the food any better, or just?
Well, actually, the food was not good in the beginning, of course. We just had whatever they could serve immediately, was continued with the canned foods and such. But then they had started to grow. The Japanese themselves grew farms and cultivated vegetables, and they, I guess, were given hogs. And so eventually we had our own fresh vegetables and meat from the hogs, and they took that and they supplied that and then interchanged it with the other 9 internment camps. There were 10 altogether.
So did they, when your father arrived there, and a lot of men were there, did they give you jobs? Did the people that were in control give your men and women jobs to do, make you work, or did you just voluntarily try to set up a home or anything?
Well, you volunteered, and then my mother was a dietitian for our block. We were in block 42. There were like 46 blocks of these barracks, and each barrack had 12 12 buildings, I think. And so she, just for our particular block, our block and maybe one block over, she just sort of worked the dietitian type work.
And what did the men do?
And the men, I imagine, were having to do maintenance.
Are there any requirements to build a lot of lumber? Because that's a lumber area. Were they given
No,
work?
there was nothing on our area.
No lumber.
We were in Minidoka, as I said, was like a desert.
Oh.
There was nothing there.
And that's in probably the coldest part of Idaho, too.
Yes, it
Do you
is.
remember it being very cold?
Extremely cold,
Yeah.
and I knew that it was like 110 in the summer and extremely below freezing in the winter.
Did you feel guarded, or did you feel free to just kind of live kind of the best life you could?
Well, you were guarded because you had the barbed wire fence around the camp.
Oh, the whole thing was
The whole-
fenced in.
And then, of course, there were towers for the guards to stand in.
So if anybody tried to go over that fence, it would not be
Right. They would
pleasant.
not, no, and a few did.
Yeah.
A few tried to escape.
Did they try to take any of the men and put them in the military service or anything?
The later on, after I guess 1940, later in 2045, 46, there was a large volunteers of men who went to the 442nd, of which I had 5 uncles to go, of which 5 went and 3 came back.
They probably fought over in the European
And
theater?
they fought over in the European campaign, mostly in Italy.
Mhm.
I had some pictures of my Uncle John, who was in by the Tower of Pisa.
Isn't that quite amazing itself that there's people that lost all of their homes and businesses, they end up joining, in a way, the military and fought. And I had read some notes, and I am a military member myself, and I had heard that there were over 35,000 Japanese American men that were some were highly decorated in World War II.
That's correct.
So it's just amazing. I never knew that before I did some research on it.
Because they were Japanese, but they were Americans. They had a very
Americans.
strong feeling for America. Of course, they wanted America to be protected.
Mhm.
And so they went to Uncle John. He was anxious to go, and several of them were anxious to go. Uncle Toshi was not. he was put in jail for a while because he did not want to go, but then later he did change his mind and did join the 442nd as an interpreter working.
You know, this is going to be a very hard question to answer, and I'm not sure you're even able. I don't know if I'd be able, but how does a person adjust to this kind of a condition when they're put in a fenced-in, hard to sleep, bad food environment? How did these people adjust?
I don't know how they adjusted, but they did, and they managed. Because they were truly more American, having the feeling of America, and they wanted America to win,
Mm-hmm.
and still were behind the country.
Yeah, maybe that's what part of it was. So they knew in the future that things might someday get back to normal, and you know, we might.
Hopefully that they can do their part to make it come back.
Right. Now, after all this was over, and you were there for 4 years in Idaho, right?
Yes, and many of us were volunteers, or I'm not sure how exactly it worked, but I know that some of my aunts and uncles who were there that were not in the service were used for the farms that needed to be, the potato farms and the sugar beet farms that needed harvesting. So they were sent there, as daily workers.
Mhm.
And my family and my mother and father and myself
So when you were
and my sister, we went to Cascade, Idaho, to a sawmill, and where the men were, I guess, there was like a old restaurant that they converted into a place to stay for these men and my family. And my father was the cook. My mother did the dishes.
did you get any type of, you're just a little girl that should have been in school. Did you get any schooling or did
Yes,
you train
we did.
yourself?
No, we did have a school there. There were people that volunteered to be educators in at the internment camp, and also when we were in Cascade, Idaho, I went to school. I guess we were there, I'm not sure. I remember one winter and one summer, so maybe a full year of going to this school in Cascade.
So do you think you maintained grade level pretty well using these are Japanese American people that were teaching probably as volunteers?
Well, I don't know how we made it, but we did.
And learning, you stayed on
And
track.
then stayed on track, I guess, because after the war was over and we moved, we were in New York, I managed to keep my grades.
Cover that for just a minute. When this all ended at the Idaho camp, how did you get from there with your family to New York? Did they fly you there? Or how did you go?
Well, we didn't fly, but I think we either went by train and bus. You were given a choice of going to wherever you wanted to go, a one-way ticket, and $25 per person.
Not a lot.
No, but you didn't know how long that $25 was supposed to last you.
Yeah.
So my mother chose to go to New York as opposed to going back to Seattle, or where some of the other people, other Japanese families, decided to go back to California or wherever they came from.
Did your father go to New York too?
Yes, my father. By that time, my mother had divorced, and I had my stepfather.
Stepfather. Where in New York did you live?
In New York City.
Right
Well,
down-
first of all, we lived in Brooklyn, New York,
Mhm.
at a hostel. I guess it was a church-funded building and housing for people that were coming out of the camp. So we were there, and then my mother and father worked in a Japanese restaurant.
So let's see, you'd be about 12 years old and you find yourself in New York City.
Right,
And then you went into a school,
right.
and was that a Catholic school also?
No, that was a friend's school. It wasn't a parochial, it was just a Quaker school
Quaker school.
for a time. And then when we moved from Brooklyn to New York City, then I went to the public school.
How long were you in New York altogether, you think? At what age did you leave there?
Well, I left there, I guess we moved to Virginia in the meantime, because my father found a job in Virginia, working at a river lodge, cooking there. And so we did that, and then for a while, and then we moved back to New York. My father found another job in Florida. So,
You had to go where the work was, didn't
well, he had to go where the work was. That time we did stay in New York City, and my mother, who finished high school, and we finished high school, grew up. Her determination was to be a school teacher, and she went, worked at the same as I did. We always worked 2 or 3 jobs, just to
Just to
make
survive.
expenses,
Yeah.
cover our backs, put food on the table. And she, after we had grown up, she went to college at night and furthered her education, and she was like an elementary school.
I understand you went from New York back to Seattle area to get your high school completion at a Garfield High School, was it?
Yes, I went to Garfield High School there.
So how many years there? About a couple of years?
2 years.
And then graduated.
Graduated.
What was your first job after graduation?
Oh, that's right. First job after graduation was at Kresge's.
Kresge's.
Uh-huh.
In the Seattle area?
No, in Washington, in New York City.
Back in New York. Oh, I see what you mean, yes. So how long was that? Just a year?
A short time.
Short time?
I guess maybe a year or so, and then I found a job that paid better at the Empire State Building for the Nakashima International as a receptionist in bookkeeping.
Well, in that job in the Empire State Building, you probably got to see many important and big business type people.
Yes, that
just
was
as a receptionist.
just as a receptionist.
Yeah, was that down right in the lobby of the?
Oh no, that was like up on the 40th or 50th, one of those business.
Did you feel like a big city girl?
Oh, I did.
I knew you would. She's a big city girl. So, where did you end up from? You were in New York. Where'd you go from there?
Well, from New York. Well, I worked several jobs in New York, and then I met my husband, and that's when I moved on to Virginia Beach, because he had a business in Virginia Beach. He had a restaurant there.
When did you end up working in the real estate area?
In Atlanta. I had worked for a company here in Atlanta, and I realized that certain beautiful ladies were getting promoted, and because I was married and worked there, I was not getting promoted to the estimation that I should have. So I decided that I should work for myself.
Wow. And then what did you do by working for yourself?
Then at that time,
Well, you were in real estate
I went
yourself.
into real estate. Yeah, real estate agent.
Started your own agency. Wow.
Well, I worked for Coldwell Banker as a newbie, and I worked there for 5 years.
What was your secret to selling a house?
Meeting the people and enjoying them, finding the home of their choice that they love.
Let me ask this one to tie in all of your early childhood. Let's say when you were working the real estate job, do you think any of that hard life that you had to go through and all of the things you had to deal with as an early child, and just not many people have to go through what you went through, did that help you or kind of hurt you as you were an adult?
You know, I never felt the resentment. I always wanted to go forward. That upbringing that I had from my mother, that we were always going to go forward and not worry about the past, because there was nothing you could really do to fix it. So make a better life, work hard. I never thought working 2 or 3 jobs was any a problem. All I needed was a few more dollars to have for a new dress or to better myself, and education. So that was my primary objectives in life, to do what I could for a better future, a better life for others.
Well, if I could offer an opinion, I would think that what you went through from the age of 7 through 12, and then had this work through the tough New York life, it would seem to me that this would really put you so far ahead in the ability of handling problems more than the average person that just lives an easier life, let's say, that almost would steel you to do a great job.
Well,
do you think that'd be true?
Yes, it helped me because I never gave it a thought to work a 30-hour job or was it a 40-hour job, or was it another 10 hours?
Right. Just get the job done.
Just get the job done and look forward to doing what you could accomplish and to be a better person.
Let me ask you this, Sylvia. Just you've had a wide-ranging interview from literally from the age of 5 that you can remember all the way through many cities in America, many jobs, tough jobs, hard jobs. Is there anything that I did not cover today? And we're about to the end of the interview. I was just wondering, is there anything that I didn't cover that you'd like to say or say to the world in that video right there?
What I'd like to say to this world would be kind to each other, do what you can, look forward, keep God in mind, and that He is always with you.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you doing this interview, and I know Helen Martin will put all of your information together, and you'll enjoy looking at your video and your package for your entire family. And they've earned it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
May I ask a question?
Certainly.
Sylvia, you and your husband had a family.
Oh, yes.
Could you tell us about your family?
I have one son, and Greg Peter Kamichis, and he is he didn't marry till he was 40 years old. My mother insisted his being married before he got 40. And he is a wonderful father, a wonderful husband, and we have 2 grandchildren. He has 2 children who are my wonderful children. My granddaughter lives with me, and she is 20 years old. My grandson used to live with me. He's now 22, and they are planning to be visiting me often, and we will eventually make my current home, which I live in Gainesville. They're keeping it in the family, and we are right in the process of taking one of my garage mahal building into like a small, like a guest house for that.
That's
and
wonderful.
they're going to move in with me.
Wonderful. And what are their names?
Oh, that is Asia Joy Kamichis, and she's the one that is 20. And then Alexander Peter Kamichis, and he's 22. They just both left for work this morning. They were with
Wonderful.
me for the weekend.
Sylvia, it sounds like you've had a joyful life.
I do. I'm very, very happy now. This is the pleasant part of my life.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen Joy Kamichis, she is my best friend and best daughter-in-law. She is very loving, kind to me. And of course, she's a mother and wife to my son, and she is, as I said, my best friend.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
So we have a good relationship.